Good evening, everybody, and a very big thank you to Mary Trace. I think COVID had a certain advantage. She ended up with all the work of organising today's celebration. The original one in August would have fallen to me and the team. But I'm absolutely delighted to be here today because the opening of this centre for me is absolutely up there, along with the opening of Chéile Secondary School Tyrrellstown and Chéile Secondary School Ballincollig, has wonderful moments from 12 wonderful years working for Chéile. I think they're all manifestations of the vision that the 15 congregations had and have for the future of their schools and the future of Catholic education. So it's a great tribute. I'd like to think that today really is the thank you to them, because without their vision, we wouldn't be here. I'd also, of course, like to mention that when Chéile Secondary School Tyrrellstown was being opened, the thing that struck me was the really positive response from all the Chéile schools. So it wasn't just about Tyrrellstown, it was a sense that Chéile is for the future, not just for the past. We love the heritage, we want to make sure it continues, it's really valuable, but we are of the future. This building, we won't ask Brian or Alice how long the building will stand, but I am quite sure it will be many, many years after us. So I think that is a great tribute to yourselves. I have a lovely memory of Sister Cara and Rhodie, Sister Rosemary O'Looney, coming to the Chéile office in Milltown, as we were at the time, in 2015. And it was around the time that Chéile were talking about the transfer of ownership of properties to Chéile. And they were the first brave souls who came in and they said, we're thinking of donating the property. And I went, oh, Our Ladies, oh yeah, I know that school, know that site. Isn't there a gate lodge on that site? And Kevin reminded me, but we did say we would not speak about the history of the gate lodge. But nevertheless, it was a moment of maybe inspiration between the three of us. And we said, the gate lodge is vacant. We were already in our second office. We had started in Donnybrook. We were now in Milltown, and we knew that that was temporary because we knew that that building was going to be sold. So the future looked like we were going to be on the road. But this gave a lovely moment of light and a lovely moment of possibility. So the journey began. And it started with, obviously, small discussions and conversations. But it really began, I think, when Brian Swan made a proposal to the Chéile board in February 2016. And he had the vision set out, and he even had pencil drawings. I know he's sitting behind me here, but another inspired architect who has done great work for Chéile and Chéile over the last 12 years. So that was kind of the start of the journey. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to go into everything in detail because Mary Trace has given me 2 minutes, which I've probably used up by now. So I have just one comment for every year. So 2016 was the exploratory phase. It was positive, and we got a decision in principle that this might go ahead. That decision was really thanks to the congregations, because while we had a wonderful Chéile board and a wonderful Chéile board, the ultimate decision really had to rest with the members of the company, and they are the congregations. But maybe more importantly, it's all about money, isn't it? We couldn't have done it without their donations, and I really want to say that's something we don't talk about very much, but I really want to acknowledge it here today, because we really didn't want to interfere too much with the finances of the trust per se, and the generosity of the congregations knows no bounds. And I really want to acknowledge that today. So a huge thank you. That allowed this wonderful project to go ahead, or at least to get started. So then, by July of that year, we were able to tender for the architects. And a lovely process, again guided by Brian Swan. We were all totally ignorant of this process, but we were very ably guided. And I was delighted, absolutely delighted, that Alice and Cian, a husband and wife team, were selected from the tendering process. And I think for them it was also a special moment because, and I'm really pleased to see baby, she's not a baby anymore, Juno here. Because very shortly after meeting Alice, we realised she was pregnant. And it's a little bit like, you know, when you employ a teacher, it's, oh no, it's going to be maternity leave. Sorry, Alice. So, but anyway, the good news is I'm really pleased, but because there was Alice and Cian, we had Alice and we had Cian, and then we had Alice for the main part of the project. But wonderfully, it's just wonderful to have Juno here today as well. So that was 2016. In 2017, the ownership of the whole site and property was transferred from the RCE sisters to Chéile. And again, I really would like to commend their bravery, their courage, their trust and their faith. They were the first to make a move and to actually donate the property to Chéile. And I hope you have no regrets. I know we have wonderful people on the Chéile board. And I think I would also at this point like to say a big thank you to the school, to Marguerite and the team, because we know it hasn't been easy for you. You've been really accommodating right from day one. I know behind the scenes you had to pacify your teachers at times with the noise and the dirt and the dust and everything, but like you never complained to us. We never knew anything about that. So we're really grateful to you for that. In 2017, we also got going on, Alice also got going on the design work, the preliminary designs and the detailed designs, and the discussion, of course, on costs. 2018 was probably not the greatest of years in this project, because while we got planning permission early enough in the year, what happened then was, as happens in every building project, the costs started escalating, an awful lot of money. And that's where I learned the word value engineering. It actually just means cuts. But that was the new language we were into. How can we do this and do it at a reasonable price? We also had a little problem with the neighbours, but we're not going to talk about that. Not the neighbouring school, the neighbours. But they might hear me, so I better not say anything. So 2019, we continued with the budget reviews. I'm glad to say the problem with the neighbours was resolved. And then we were able to work on tendering for the construction company. So we had the construction company ready. Things were looking up. We were all set and ready to go. Then when Alice contacted the contractors, say, right, okay, we'll be ready now in January 2020. Lo and behold, don't know if we could do that now. You know, we've been waiting too long. Don't think we can take that on now. And no, we're not going to guarantee you that price. So it was back to not quite the drawing board, but luckily to number 2 on the list. And I have to say that it was probably an inspired choice, because Eamon Costello Kerry Limited were the construction firm for the project, and I have to say they were a pleasure to work with. Alice, an excellent choice. They were obliging, they got it, you know, they understood what we were about, and the quality of the work, which I'm sure you'll notice when you walk around, is second to none. They were very obliging, a great company to deal with and to work with. But of course, they had literally only started putting up the hoarding. Remember, we're now into January 2020, February 2020, and what happened in March 2020? They shut up again. I shut up the site and had to move off. Luckily, they hadn't set up too much, but nevertheless, that put a halt to the works for a couple of months. Glad to say they managed to get started again. And at that point, we engaged Marie and Mark to do the artwork, which I think, again, I'd like to pay tribute to them. And we really wanted the schools to be involved as well. So this was like a community project. I think they've done a great job on the artwork. I won't say any more than that about it, but we're delighted with it and very pleased to have it here and to have the student work here as well. Because, again, it shows what we're about. We really are here for the students, the young people. Then January 20, yes, it should have been ready around December 2020, but we rolled on because of the delays into 21. And of course, guess what? COVID hit again. We were on the second wave. So work came to a stop again, but all ends well in the end. We did manage to get it finished around May, June time, and we're delighted to take the keys and accept the keys on the 23rd of June last year. So it just remains for me to say I hope you all have a wonderful time here. I do miss Chéile, but it's just wonderful to come back and see so many friends, so many of you here today. And I want to say a very special thank you to Mary Trace and the team for the invitation to be here with you today and to wish you all the very best of luck. Very mil